Hey guys, in 2021 I decided to become a fan of US domestic cycling, and I knew that meant I was going to be following crits because road racing, stage racing is mostly dead now. It's all become crit focused. I started looking for resources on how to become a fan of this sport, and I really wasn't finding anything. So I went to bike forums, place I used to post on all the time, and I asked, hey, how do you follow domestic racing? And I got this response almost immediately: don't. A serious racer races in Europe. USA racing is recreational regardless of what your license says. There's no real way to figure USA racing out. Some may be good enough to race in Europe, but choose not to. Everyone's just having fun. And I was like, wow, that guy's a jerk. You know, it really, I just took it with a grain of salt because I'd heard that before, basically, that, you know, it was like USA racing's not that serious, and if you want to be good, you go to Europe. Turned out they were right about one thing. There is no real way to figure out USA racing. What I expected to find was like a website covering the news, covering the big races, telling me what's going on. There is no domestic racing news website. Every now and again, you know, the bigger Velo News types, you know, the cycling news, you know, those places will pick up a story, but there's nothing that really focuses on domestic racing. I thought there would be a ranking system that told me, you know, like where riders were at in relation to each other, so you could figure out who the big riders were, and there really isn't. The video coverage was spotty at best, and most of it relies on the racers themselves. The commentary can be great, but again, some of it is not. I just didn't find what I was looking for. I did find Criterium Nation, a podcast by Rob Kelly, which has been really great. And more recently, I found the American Peloton by Justin Crane, another podcast I'm really enjoying that covers USA racing. So in 2022, I made an effort. I was going to follow the American Crit Cup because, you know, the year I decided to really get into USA racing, the USA Crit series completely collapsed. Like the major US series fell apart. But it was replaced by something I think a little bit even better, the American Crit Cup. And I watched some of the events, but I hate to say it, I just didn't put that much effort into following it. I kind of lost the plot after a while and didn't really know what was going on, and I just kind of lost interest in it. In fact, I had a chance to take a short drive and watch the final round of that series in St. Louis, and I didn't go. I mean, I could have seen the big major teams and seen some great racing, got some great photos, and, you know, I just didn't go. I just wasn't really thinking about it in September. So 2023, it could be the biggest year for American Criterium Racing that we've ever had because there's this new National Cycling League, and it's got two really strong teams, the Miami Knights, the Denver Disruptors, and it's a well-supported teams. These guys, I mean, they're spending a lot of money, and then they've got this four race series that I've did a video about, and it's going to be weird. It's going to be crazy. I don't even know. I think people are just like, nobody knows what this is going to be like. But I've been thinking about it. You know, what, as a fan, myself a fan, what's going to make U.S. domestic racing more successful, more followable? Okay, so number one, I think more participation. Like, basically racing is a pyramid scheme. The pros are funded by us amateurs and participate. We pay the same, registration fees, and we might win a $3 medal if we're lucky. So I figure when I pay to do a race, I don't have a chance of winning. It's just, for me, it's like sponsoring a race. It's like buying a ticket to get into the game. That being said, the promoters need to do more to make this amateur racing more approachable. You know, like actually have real beginner categories. You know, why have your biggest race of the day, the Cat 4-5, happen at 8 a.m. in the morning and have, you know, 7,500 racers, half of them Cat 4s who have probably been doing this for years, and the other half people, you know, that aren't, you know, and it's just not, it makes, as an amateur, it makes you feel like an idiot when you get into these kind of races, and just actually have a real beginner category. I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure it can be done, you know, like, and it can have multiple, you can have multiple short races, you know, like maybe have some age group racing or something. Just put something in there that people can support the racing, feel like they get their money's worth, and have more fun for us to support the serious pros. Okay, another thing I need, number 2, a national and regional system for ranking. It makes sense. I want to know like who is winning national, and I know that doesn't fully work because it's like they don't always race each other, but it seems like in chess, we could have a ranking system for riders based on their results for like the year, and road results seems to do that, but it just, when I looked at it, I guess there's just not enough. I don't know why, but it just doesn't make sense. When you look at it, it's like most of the big crit racers seem to be missing, and some of the people in the list, like they don't really race that much. They've never even won races, and they're like fifth place or something on this list. So USA Cycling has a list too, but it's really not very long, or it just seems like it's missing a lot too. So better ranking system. Number 3, live streams. So live streams have really come a long way, and they are way better. I've seen that improvement over the last few years, and live streams are awesome. But oftentimes they are a little hard to find, and then the live stream disappears after the race is over. Then you have to pay for it somehow. So I mean, I'm not a big fan of paying for things, but if you're going to have a live stream and promote this event, then if you somehow to I don't know, somehow to watch it, like some way to make sense to watch that live stream. 4 kind of goes along with the live stream, but I think it's more important. Live streams, how many people are really going to like sit down and find the race they want to watch on a live stream, watch it live? I mean, I would if I can, but what I'd really much prefer is a well-packaged race highlights show. And I mean like an actual show, like a 30-minute show. And maybe you have some interviews with the teams, some of the riders. You have some on-camera, on-bike footage mixed in with some trackside footage, maybe some drone footage, show the major moves of the race, show, like pit footage, and just get the whole drama of the whole event, and then get some footage after it, get some race interviews after it, and just make a real show out of it. It could be a 30-minute show, because really like a 70-minute crit, there's not much of that. You don't need to watch the whole 70 minutes. There's times in there where there's really not a lot going on. So that would really be much more preferred, and I think that would really help the sport. Number 5, big one. I want to see all the big teams go in on a single national series. I think that was, maybe not the NCL, maybe the National Cycling League isn't that series. Maybe it will be, but the ACC probably is. But I want to see all the teams. Like, why was Legion not in the ACC, the supposedly best crit team in the nation, but they're not in the national series, the big national American series? So, like, the best riders need to be racing each other as much as possible, and there needs to be a national series that facilitates that, like the ACC, the American Crit Cup. Okay, 6, teams that don't disappear when the funding runs out, and then Best Buddies has to become American Cycling, or whatever. And I mean, this is cycling in general, and this is just a big problem in cycling in the highest ranking, professional cycling. They're trying to find sponsors for every year. The team sponsorship model, it's not a good way for fans to enjoy a sport. If it's a team sport, especially. If it's just individual riders, I guess it doesn't matter. But to me, it should be a team sport, and I want to follow teams. So the Legion model makes a lot of sense here. Like, you need sponsorships, of course, but you're still team. You got a team name, and you're like Legion presented by Zwift, or you're like Slipstream presented by Garmin, or whatever. Your team name needs to be something that carries on somehow. I don't know if geographic-based teams even really matter to me. It's more like maybe just the organizers are really what's more important than the character of that team. Number 7, a Criterium-focused media outlet that showcases the big racers, the big races across the nation. We can build a season-long narrative. I mean, it kind of goes into the whole like race show thing I mentioned, but also like actual like commentary shows. I listen to a lot of podcasts about European racing that I just don't even care about half the time because like I don't really, I can't pronounce half the riders' names. I wish there was an American version of that I could follow, that where I could maybe be psyched up to go see some of these racers when they come near me. So finally, just stop trying to be Europe. The United States, we were focused for a while there, like on European dominance in the Lance, in the end of the Lance era. We were sending racers to, and if you're the best of the best, you do want to probably race on the world stage, but you don't have to. And I think that's the big thing. We need to create a system where you don't have to go to Europe, because that kind of racing doesn't necessarily suit Americans that well. It's just not. It's more. To me, Criterium Racing could be our big thing if we developed it and turned it into that. So in your gate, regardless, I mean, I'm really psyched for it this year. I'm really fired up for the National Cycling League. I'm fired up for the American Cycling Cup, American Crit Cup. I'm hoping to try to stay motivated and follow it the entire year. And I'm really hoping to see some events this summer. And so, yeah, that's that. See ya.